Greetings and salutations, dear sports fans. Welcome into yet another edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead Show. We are coming to you live from Quaker Steak and Lube because, we're not dead. Got that going for us on a Thursday. Dear Goon, let's start with the National Hockey League because I think both you and I are very much on the same page. The lunacy right now in the governance of the National Hockey League is truly breathtaking.
It's amazing.
If you have not been following along, Tom Wilson, who has a pretty long track record as a guy who crosses the line fairly frequently in the NHL, from good behavior to bad to behavior that should not be tolerated on the ice. And he went on one of his rampages against the Rangers earlier in the week, given a $5,000 fine. No suspension, and a $5,000 fine would be very significant for yours truly, for anything. But $5,000 for Tom Wilson in the NHL is the equivalent of about maybe $50 for you and I. We are not talking about a terrible hardship here for the fine. And if you did not see the altercations with the Rangers on what was it, Monday night, right?
When he hurt
the fight,
he hurt the guy,
and
he hurt the Rangers' best player, knocked him out for the season. Shot pretty much. I mean, the guy was bottom of a pile, and he's mugging him and this. And I'm adamant about it. Ironhead, I'm adamant.
Well, and Artemi Panarin is out for
the season, the rest of the season.
Yeah, the rest of the season as a result. It was how you don't at least as a league decide, let's at least take the tension away. We're at the end of the season. Let's not let him play again against the Rangers.
Let alone the next game.
Yes. But no, the NHL, again, fines him $5,000, which is genuinely insulting to the Rangers.
It's the max suspension for money they could fine him because of the NHL Players Association.
It's the max money they can fine him, but they can suspend him and should have suspended him.
I completely agree.
So that, yes, but that is a fair point on the $5,000 that's the league can't fine any more than that. But again, you've got to have some recognition, some realization of the situation before you, and make the adjustment accordingly to the NHL. They dropped the gloves, I don't even know how many times, and it was as soon as before Wilson even came out, the gloves dropped off for the opening face-off.
Yes.
When Wilson came onto the ice, it was, I think 4 seconds of real time from when he stepped on the ice till the first punch was thrown. And it was, in any normal league, in any normal structure, it would have been an absolute embarrassment, and the league would have come out and apologized immediately afterwards, saying, my God, we regret the decision. Yes, in hindsight, and we should have had the foresight to not have to do hindsight, and should have suspended him for this game so that what happened didn't happen. Instead,
that's on them.
That is on the league 100%. And so the Rangers, understandably, miffed at the situation, write a letter, an open letter, and very critical of the, and I want to make sure I get the guy's name right.
The disciplinary guy.
Yeah, the Department of Player Safety head, George Peros.
Yep.
Rangers are calling for his firing following this. And listen, whether or not that's going too far and whatever, $250,000 is what the league fines the Rangers for writing a letter. And the one thing, there's a couple of things I want to get into with this, but NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman, in announcing the $250,000 fine, says, quote, public comments of the nature issued by the Rangers that were personal in nature and demeaning of a league executive will not be tolerated. While we don't expect the clubs to agree with every decision rendered by the Department of Player Safety, the extent to which the Rangers expressed their disagreement was unacceptable. It is terribly unfair to question George Parros's professionalism and dedication to his role and the Department of Player Safety, unquote. How is that unfair? Again, fine if you're saying that the league doesn't allow public comments of this kind, but to say that it is not fair to question George Parros's professionalism and dedication to his role in the Department of Player Safety. You had a player who was injured in a fight.
I want to stop right there.
He's out the remainder of the season and doesn't get suspended. How are you not questioning that? How is any reasonable human being not questioning what George Parros did or didn't do in this particular case? That is insanity by
Let's go back
Gary Bettman
to when he got hurt. Who has Panary's side? The NHL Players Association stuck up for Wilson. Are you not going to stick up for the guy he hurt? I mean, just look at it like that. I mean, just go back to that.
Yes.
That in itself is just absolutely crazy, insane. The Rangers. Oh, I got a lot on my chest, Aaron. I got a big chest today.
Fire away.
The fact that the Rangers have to write a note like that, it was being. The fact that they wrote it and how they wrote it and what they said was very unprofessional of them, and it cost the president and the general manager their jobs. Then they go out last night, and exactly what the NHL said they want to get rid of is what they literally served it up on a platter last night.
Is there another sport? Can you think? Because there isn't. I'll I'll give you the answer ahead of time for the quiz kids. Is there another sport where a player fights another player? I'm not saying, again, you might have a quarterback who gets sacked and injured and with an over-aggressive hit. I'm talking about a fight. Is there another sport where a player injures another player in a fight and does not get suspended? And the answer is, again, if you're trying to follow along at home.
Yes.
No. If in baseball, two guys fight and one injures the other, even without injuries, right? In baseball, they're getting suspended. But if one injures the other, right, that guy for sure is going to be suspended for presumably at least the rest of that series, right?
Yeah.
And I realize in baseball that it takes a while for the adjudication of everything, so I get that as far as it goes. But the fact that the league took no action, in essence, took no action when a fight resulted in an injury to another, that alone, right, kind of largely discredits the NHL's idea of having a senior vice president of player safety. Does it not? I mean, what am I missing?
You know who my team is. You know how I grew up. That's the hockey I like to watch, right? But the NHL wants to get away from this. This is the problem. You got a guy, Tom Wilson, beating up the best player on the Rangers because the Rangers guy came in there and got fit. But the problem is the NHL has got rid of guys policing the ice. Okay, the old school days of, you know what, if Tom Wilson had done that to Mario Lemieux, he's answering the call.
Yeah.
If he did it to Wayne Gretzky, he's answering. Marty McSorley is coming over there. Dave Brown. I mean, the problem is that Tom Wilson thinks he's freaking Bob Probert out there on the ice right now, and he wouldn't last a year playing hockey 10 or 15, 20 years ago.
Yes.
I mean, he skates around like he's Ty Domi, like he's the heavyweight champion. I mean, dude, you're a heavyweight champion in a lightweight division because there's nobody has those guys anymore to police the ice. So what the NHL is trying to get away from, and that is the on-field, on-ice incidents, on-ice cheap shots. This guy's getting, they want to get the policing out of hockey. Then you need to protect these guys. And what they did by not suspending Wilson just absolutely set the table for what happened last night. And I loved it. I mean, dude, it was awesome. I mean, but think about this. What would have happened if he had hurt Mario Lemieux? I mean, 9 guys have been lined up to beat him up. You know what I mean? And then the Rangers don't have a guy in their organization that they could call up or on their team who could match up with Wilson. And that was their fear that they were going to get. I mean, are you kidding me? You don't have a person who's going to go out and fight. And then I respect the hell out of the Rangers last night for coming out, and there was the 4 fights or 6 fights in the first 4 minutes of the game. You had to defend yourself. And then the NHL they're pretty much the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers right now. I mean, it's like a clown show going on right now of how they handle this whole situation. I mean, I can't believe how backwards and wrong the NHL has been about this whole situation. Starting on Monday by not suspending him after injuring one of your supposed star players in the NHL.
And again, if you were the Capitals, you could cry unfair with a suspension of a game. But how do you, as a league, not recognize again what clearly is going to happen if you don't suspend him? And it is what you saw.
And then look what happened
last night.
You watched the end of the Flyers Penguins game tonight. They emptied that goal.
Yeah,
did you see that?
Yeah,
but Gostisbehere, it was a cheap shot.
There was a
definite cheap shot. Actually, Friedman's lucky he didn't get hurt, to be honest with you. Gostisbehere gets a 2-game suspension for that.
Yeah.
He's never offended or, done something like that in his career.
Yeah.
Tom Wilson has 10 suspensions.
Yeah.
10. I mean, it's just they're just like, okay.
And that seems low, doesn't it?
As the last time, Tom, so it's better. You're getting better, you only hurt one guy this time. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And then the Rangers fans, I mean, I just got to laugh at them. I mean, the Rangers fans who had Sean Avery and Matthew Barnaby for decades, those pests, and they're complaining, oh, he's dirty. I mean, that's exactly the player it was. It's like the Flyers going out and saying, well, you got beat up last night by you bought out a bunch of goons. Well, it was the 70s and 80s in the Philadelphia Spectrum. I mean, I get it, but it was just like I just can't believe how stupid the NHL is. But this whole thing, whole thing.
It is remarkable that the league handled this as poorly as it did.
But I just go back
and doesn't understand. Either doesn't understand or doesn't care about the PR hit that it is taking as a result of again the action and inaction and then action.
We got Reeves out in Las Vegas, right? He's a player, but he can go.
Yeah,
he's a very good fighter. We were talking to Booch before the show. I mean, I don't even know what the hell division was. Was it the Mass Mutual division? Is it the Eastern Snake division? I don't know. Whatever it is, the 7 or 8 teams that are in it right now. There's no goons in that league. There's no goons in that conference, in that division. There's none. He's been playing. Yeah, we got more goons on this show than you do in the NHL right now. I mean, he's playing 56 games against 7 other teams, and he's just going out there and doing whatever taking liberties and this and that. This is the problem. You got to go back, and the NHL completely dropped the ball yet again. You're going to. Do you think the Rangers aren't going to go out and find a guy who can defend their players now? We're going to go right. I mean, I love it. Trust me, I'm ecstatic about this because that seems like the only time the Flyers can ever win. But yeah, they got to goon it up. I'm okay with that, but I mean, the Rangers are going to go out and they're going to put some guys in their team who can police the ice. If the NHL is not going to police the ice, which is a promise that they would do. And then you have this game, and we've gotten into this European fancy, not a fancy game. It's a much quicker game. It's not goon, not clutch and grab. You're not fighting for your life every night in the Philadelphia Spectrum or the Igloo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they put it upon themselves to rid the game of that. And the teams, said, okay, It's not worth carrying these guys on our team if we can have another goal scorer, have a fourth line guy who could actually go out, muck and grind, and score a goal here and there, rather than having a Dave Brown, Craig Berube, Jay Caulfield type of guy.
Yeah.
And they failed. They failed the New York Rangers in that instance. And, I mean, the ramifications of it, I mean, two guys are out of job, the president and the GM. The owners are out $250 million because they're firing off letters accusing people of not being there doing their job or professional. I mean, it's the NHL has long time never been able to get out of their own way sometimes. And this is just yet another example of it.
Yeah, it just is. I mean, it really is extraordinary in the lack of foresight.
Like, you knew that they
expressed
had to expect
by
that was going to happen last night.
Well, yeah, it wasn't. It's why people were tuning in.
There's no doubt.
That weren't. I mean, that's certainly why Rangers and Capitals fans were tuning in. But
I
mean, it's why everybody knew what was going to happen, and the fact that the league, again, was either caught flat-footed or is actually going to start condoning after how much energy they've put into changing
cleaning
that
up the
perception of the game. It's just, I don't know. It is a head scratcher to say the very least.
The NHL has a thing for Brad Marchand up in Boston. He's a very similar player, tough, chippy, aggressive, borderline dirty.
Yeah.
I don't know why Wilson was not suspended. I really don't understand a guy who has been in that protocol for so many times for that exact thing, and then he goes and does it again and injures a star player. I mean, you don't blame the Rangers for acting the way they did.
In other leagues, right? I mean, just when you compare, right, in the NFL, when Burfict got it was the accumulation of things, right? That it's like, okay, you can have a cheap shot, unnecessary hit, and get some forgiveness. But when it is a recurring issue, again, normally the penalties then increase. That leash gets shorter and tighter.
Well, Tom didn't really hurt too many people that game. It wasn't that dirty of a shot.
Again, it just flies in the face of everything you have come to expect when it comes to adjudicating these types of situations in professional sports.
I mean, I would love for it to go back to the way it was last night. I really would. I mean, that's the hockey I grew up in, the hockey that I enjoy watching. I really, really do. I mean, the self-policing on ice it takes a lot of that stuff away. I mean, I'm telling you, it's going, I mean, if I'm the Rangers, I'm out there right now looking towards next year. Ogie Oglethorpe is available. He's getting signed to the first contract.
Although to some extent, that stuff, the unwritten rules in baseball always kill me too. It's like, well, I'm going to show you if for giving up a home run, I'm going to give you another base runner so that if you get another home run off me, you'll get 2 runs. It's like, what in the hell sense does that? Baseball has long baffled me with the nonsense of
how about the nonsense of the extra inning second base? I hate that.
Yeah,
it just drives me nuts.
I am not a fan of it. I do understand, and I've seen some pretty good columns from long time, like people that you would expect to be against it. I don't like the 7-inning games. That's even more of a. To me, it's not Major League Baseball at that point. That's the whole point. Of being in the majors. I'm fine with that at the collegiate level, more than fine with it at the high school level. If you want to have shortened games and for a wide variety of reasons. Games. No, even shortened games from that at the because you're only dealing with 7-inning games at some of the lower levels. And again, if for whatever reasons and situations you want to lower that for a season or two or whatever, high school and college where you're dealing with different different situations and different development issues. I'm open at least to those discussions. Major League Baseball, again, the NFL, you need to be playing 60 minutes of full contact football. Like that has to be that's why you're getting paid. The money you're getting paid is because you are out there to perform. And again, the rules are written with whether postponements or the 5 innings to get a game in, all of that I'm cool with. But to change to and again, to me, one of the other great things about baseball is that you absolutely have to go out and earn the win, and you have no idea how long that will take. But I have seen some good call. Listen, baseball is in a battle, and I hate to see it, but baseball is in a battle to try to gain, in particular, younger fans, right? They are watching the numbers dwindle in terms of participation and interest, playing at younger levels. And one of the things that they are probably properly identifying is that the game is perceived by younger people to be too boring and to take too long. So they're trying to do some things to change that up. My preference, and listen, I'm not worrying about the bottom line here the way that they have to be. My preference would be to go out and celebrate and make a big deal of the fact that you are different from other sports for those reasons, and that this is, an entirely different sport, and fight the trends and make it. I'm going to be curious to see what, if anything, they do. We just had the third no-hitter. And how crazy is that, to miss a perfect game because of a strikeout wild pitch? Never seen anything quite like that in the majors before. But 3 no-hitters now, and there are a lot of people projecting that this could be a record-setting year for no-hitters in Major League Baseball. And again, what the perception at least is, and it's probably largely reality, is that American sports fans want to see points. We want limited time. We don't want to be spending, we don't have time with our busy lives to be spending more than 3 hours on a sporting event, et cetera, et cetera. So, but again, one of those components is seeing the scoring. Well, no hitters isn't providing a lot of scoring opportunities. So what are you going to do to try to make up for that? I was watching Tim Kirchin this morning, or last night or this morning, talking about why we're having the number of no hitters, and he attributes it to largely 2 things. One is that the pitchers are just becoming ridiculously nasty, and so many of these guys now have 2 or 3 really good pitches. It's not just the fastball or a curveball. It is that these guys have 2 or 3 that are phenomenal.
They're not pitching,
but also
games.
That's part of it. And then the other thing he cited was that so many of the hitters now, it is home run or bust, and they're perfectly fine with striking out, 3 times, 3 or 4 times out of every 5 at bats. If on that 5th one, you get a home run or extra base hit, and I think there's something to be said. I think he's right on both of those counts, but what do you do if you're Major League Baseball and you're reacting to everything right now to try to attract the younger fans? I mean, what would be the answer there in terms of, okay, well, we got to make this more hitter friendly so that we have more runs being scored? And I mean, I don't know what the answer is, but I'm curious to see if baseball does react the way it is to the length of the games and to.
I mean, we grew up and Major League Baseball was adamant about keeping the rules the exact same as they were for the last 100 years.
Well, no other
nowadays,
sport, right or wrong, no other sport is as tied to its history and the numbers involved as baseball, right? I mean, there's no other sport that's even close where,
well, the game's the same. The football game's completely different. Hockey's completely different. Basketball's completely different. Baseball's baseball. Baseball will always be baseball. It's 90 feet, 60 feet, 6 inches to the plate, 90 feet to first base, all that. I mean, nothing's really changed. But guys are bigger, stronger. They're throwing a lot harder, and the parks are getting smaller and all that crap. I mean, they wanted runs, and they're getting, and now the pitchers are taking back over. And I mean, how they've squeezed the umpires the last 5 or 6 years with this. I mean, I mean, they really, really have squeezed these guys. But you think that would somewhat help batting? If they know that that umpire doesn't give that call. Okay, so then you don't look for that, and you think that the hitting would go up, but you're exactly right. I mean, it's either home run or strikeout. The amount of strikeouts in games anymore is just insane. It's crazy to watch.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see what once we get back, probably not till next season, full capacity across the board. I will be curious to see both what attendance figures show over the next couple of years moving forward and what the TV viewership is, because it has not been good here for baseball, and they're trying to react to that, and that's why you're having the runners put on second in the extra innings, and it's why you're having the rule changes being made. But I don't think I don't, but I understand it. I mean, I do understand why they're doing it. To me, I think there is a strategy there to say, listen, this is the one sport where you can come out and allow for 3.5, 4 hours. You might be done in 2 hours. You get two pitchers that are on, right? I mean, so you have no idea. My preference would be, celebrate that. Celebrate the fact that you are a sport that is tied to tradition unlike any other. Appeal to the throwback nature of it, the laid-back nature of it, and celebrate that, hey, kids, as you get older, you're going to look for those moments where you aren't constantly in a rush. Come to baseball. So I would rather that they celebrate that rather than, hey, let's try to make our sport like every other sport. And I think you could do that and find a good niche, right? In any of these sports anymore. I mean, outside of the NFL, and I think at some point, even the NFL, you're going to – everything else is a niche sport. I mean, the NBA is wildly popular, but not everywhere. I mean, certainly not in our area. But there are large pockets of the country that just don't give a whit about the NBA. And obviously, every other sport outside of the NFL and NBA is a niche sport. I mean, I love the NHL, but it's very much a niche sport. And baseball has become that. I mean, it is, grew up as that being America's pastime, but it is not a sport that casual Americans, non-sports fans are paying any attention to on any regular basis. And again, I think part of it is, yes, that baseball takes a long time. All of the things that we've talked about. But another part of it is, again, there has been a rise in interest in soccer, in lacrosse, and for me, I mean, I grew up as a kid, right? You're able to follow and watch everything. Your life can revolve around sports, and you can follow 6 or 7 different sports pretty passionately, and I did that as a kid. I followed even the NBA. I mean, I was never as passionate about the NBA as it was the others, but I did love the Sixers.
Still watched
it. In the 70s and 80s, and absolutely watched it. But followed passionately and closely Major League Baseball, the NFL, college football, college basketball. For me, college wrestling. And well, now again, as you get older and even as society has changed, we're seeing a lot of other sports evolve and grow in interest. Now, some others are dropping. You look at like men's gymnastics and sports like that are becoming smaller niche sports than what they once were. But other, volleyball has grown, lacrosse. There's a number of sports that are competing now, and even at the professional level for those dollars. So, it is harder and harder for any of these sports to maintain kind of the mega status. Yeah. And really, again, outside of the NFL and to a large extent the NBA, no sport is doing that. And I don't think will moving forward.
The NHL with the shootout at the end.
Yep.
I mean, again, I'm an old school guy.
Yeah.
I like but I sort of like the 3-on-3. Sorry, the 3-on-3 overtime is pretty cool.
Yeah, agree.
Just how wide open it is.
Yeah,
just keep it like that, and then you don't have to go to a shootout. And with baseball, they announced the other day that one of their minor leagues, not the Major League draft one we're having here at the Spikes, but there's another, maybe the Horizon League or something like that, that in extra innings, they're going to have a man on first and third with 1 out instead of a man on second. Okay, that's their overtime rule. And then if you play 2 innings like that, or there's a man on first or a man on second, a man on first and third, and when they get to a third extra inning, if the game isn't over yet, they're going to go to a home run derby. Are you kidding me? I mean, it's just it's a little too much.
And again, my guess is that they are strategizing and maybe have done, pull work with, again, young fans to, hey, what would you think about this? Because the home run derby, I mean, when we were growing up, like, awesome. I mean, it was, batting practice was cool, but it was not the All-Star game was the end-all, be-all. I mean, the All-Star game in the World Series, but the All-Star game now, in large part because obviously there wasn't interleague play, so the only time you got a chance to see, players from the National League and the American League on the same field was the All-Star game in the World Series. I mean, that was it. So that was, part of it. And there was, I don't know, it was just a different competitive element to it back then. And, but I think you could celebrate again the fact that baseball is unique and is different, and use that as a selling point instead of trying to convince fans that you're going to be, because you're not. I mean, baseball
it's never going to do it.
Yeah, you're not going to have obviously the physical contact and impact that is part of the draw of football, but you're not going to have the up and down action that the NBA or the NHL provides. And again, for me, that's great. I want distinct differences in my sports. There are reasons why I enjoy each of them. And, I wish baseball would celebrate, but I also, again, I get it. They're trying to bring in the younger fan. I just wonder to what degree they are going to be successful at doing that. Because again, no matter what changes you make, it is baseball is never going to have the up and down action of any, lacrosse or hockey or any of those sports. It's a different sport. And to some degree, I think it's fool's gold to think that you're going to make it close enough to the other sports that fans will buy in because of your approximation to what other sports are doing. Again, I think you're better off just really highlighting the fact that, no, we're completely unique and different, and that's our little niche and come on board, and there will be certain people that will be attracted to that even in this young age. And I also feel like to some extent things are cyclical. I mean, you've got to be aware, and obviously there are some things that go away forever, but a lot of things go away and then come back, or fade and then come back in terms of American pop culture and just overall interest. And I think I think there's that opportunity for baseball if it just would leave well enough alone with the sport.
Yeah, with that said, the Spike Stadium, they open up May 24th, Monday, May 24th, and they're gonna. I believe that they're working towards. I mean, the May 31st, non-mitigation thing and all that stuff. So that's gonna be a big thing for the Spikes. So.
Could be a big thing for everybody.
Really look it up online and get your season tickets and player passes and all that stuff. So, again, we're talking about baseball. I mean, we grew up watching baseball. There's nothing better I like doing in the summertime up here. I mean, I just love going out to a ballpark, listening to the game, listening to the hits, pitching, all this stuff. They have beer and food there too, Ironhead. So
is that right?
Makes it even that much better.
Son of a gun!
You're outside.
All these years I've been going up.
Beautiful day, beautiful night, little breeze, the mountain in the background, all that stuff. So
I'm gonna have to check that out.
And I miss going out
beer up there.
I miss
Boy,
going
that would
out
be
there.
good.
I miss the
Tasty
smell of
even.
the sausages and the hot dogs when you walk in there. The popcorn machine. So
no, I'm with you.
Yep. Get your tickets to the Spikes.
Yep, and it's fun. I mean, it's just fun. If you're a complete non-sports fan, it's a great place to go up. People watch and yes, enjoy some food and beverage and the entertainment between innings. The whole bit. It's that is still a little slice of Americana that remains in place. We'll take a break here. Come back. We'll talk some Penn State sports. Both soccer teams seeing their seasons come to an end, but. Terrific runs, and I think remaining bright futures for both of those programs. Talk about that and much more as we continue with the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show right after this.
Lion Country Kia is offering exceptional deals on your new Kia during Kia's Command the Season event.
We have a nice selection on the 2021 Kia Sportage with various options and prices as low as $26,800, saving you $3,000. Or if you demand big power and towing capacity, slip into one of the 2021 Kia Sorrentos available on our lot, starting at $32,680.
Discover why Kia drivers throughout the area come to Lion Country Kia or visit online at lioncountrykia.com.
Quaker Steak and Lube is throwing open the garage doors and setting up the umbrellas. It's patio season. Come enjoy great food, drinks, and fun in the sun. There's always something happening at Quaker Steak and Lube, but we're really amping up our event calendars for our favorite time of year. Visit thelube.com to find out what's happening at your local lube this season. Lunch, happy hour, dinner, or late night, indoors or outside, at Quaker Steak and Lube, you'll always find big flavors, friendly faces, and lots of fun.
I'm here with Keith Goon Conlon, and you've got a little trip you're cooking up for August. Tell us about it.
So we got 4 or 5 ex-football players, Shane Conlon, myself, Troy Drayton, Justin Krupakis, and Mike Maudie. We're going to go down to Barbados, leave from different airports, 5 days, 4 nights. We've got to get our skills ready to go for the football season, so what better way to do it than down in Barbados?
People come along on this trip. What are they going to be doing down there?
Very laid-back atmosphere. We're going to have golfing trips, fishing trips, and then at night, the days are very, very chill, and then at nighttime there'll be cocktail parties and, old viewings of old football games from Penn State. You might be watching the 87 Fiesta Bowl, the 95 Rose Bowl, a private viewing, a viewing for all the people who are on the trip of Saving Your Roar, which is the 2012 team documentary. So the biggest thing is it is 100% refundable. LionsLegendsTravels.com. Everything is on there. It's $19.95 a person. There's multiple airports, so check in.
Good stuff, Goon. Lions Legends Travel. Check it out.
He's not getting that car in there.
No, sir.
Hey, look at these two troublemakers.
Johnny, how are you?
Wicked car, is that new?
Yeah, it's a Sonata. Let me park it.
Oh, you're not fitting your car in there.
Chris, stop being a smarty pants, all right? Look who's got Smart Park. Even Bruiser can park it. Just hit the clicker. I can park it anywhere.
Beaver Stadium?
Parked it.
Even the Jordan Center?
Parked it.
Even Medler Field?
Even Bruiser parked it.
Hey, you can't park there.
He's got Smart Pack!
Wicked smart.
Blaze Alexander Hyundai. It's wicked smart.
Has to.
And we welcome you back to the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. We are coming to you from Quaker Steak and Lube. Penn State women's soccer team falling 3-1 to Florida State. Florida State, it turns out, has a pretty good squad. And then the men's team today falling to Georgetown, the defending national champions. Penn State fell behind 3-1 at the break. Did get a goal in the second half, but unable to get the equalizer, and they fall 3-2. Terrific turnaround, though, for this men's program. And
Yes,
all of a sudden, you're seeing Penn State soccer kind of back to what Penn State fans would consider its rightful place among the contenders in both men's and women's soccer now. And again, I think both of those teams, the women's team is a perennial contender now. And I think the men's team is going to be there in very short order, right? That is a really good team that is on the rise. A lot of talent returning next year. And I think, again, the soccer community here at Penn State is rightfully very excited about what the future holds here for those two teams.
Did you play soccer growing up? Was there like youth leagues around?
Yeah,
here?
we
Because
played.
they've really done
That
a
was
good job.
everybody. I feel like everybody played. I'm exaggerating. I'm sure, but it felt like everybody played biddy soccer when we were growing up and then but that was the one sport that it seemed like a lot of kids played, the little league, and a lot of kids played, but different sports. But when we were growing up anyway, it just seemed like everybody, like that was the one sport that you just definitively did do, at least up through elementary school.
To do with it. There was a good youth soccer organization. I know that they have done a really good job here with instituting a lot of young girls soccer, separating, because I remember when I was growing up, what was it, Springfield midget soccer, I believe it was, at home. It was what happened? watching the end of the Phillies games here. Oh Lord, these guys gave us all heart attacks. But it was the boys and girls, and then they did a really good job. And then you graduate from there, and it's like, where do you go? Do you want to keep playing soccer, or do you want to go play basketball, baseball, and stuff like that? So yeah, it was a great sport growing up as a kid. And I guess they have more, wrestling would be a thing around in these areas where a lot of the boys grow up at a young age and they start wrestling very, very, very young. Yep.
No question. It's part of the culture.
Think about the wrestling culture around here. I will bring it back to Coach is killing me. We'll bring it back to, when Fitz was here 10 years ago, he was talking about how Kale had really, really gotten a lot of kids involved in wrestling and stuff like that. But that was been the norm here forever, though, right?
Yeah.
It's just the fact that Kale Sanderson's teaching these kids. And now you have Quentin out there. Did he just take a head coaching job? Did he take the high school job he was?
To be honest with you, I don't know.
And then you have David, the Magic Man has his training facility here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of options for these kids in this wrestling community. And then, got Alan here. Alan, the ice hockey culture's really taken off for the youth around here. There was
well,
no way
and I got to
you.
tell you, and we're going to end up missing a sport, and you can send us the letters, but the lacrosse community here has grown exponentially over the last decade or so. And there's also always been a very strong rugby culture here, and it ebbs and flows a little bit, but I got to tell you, at the youth level, it is taking off in a way that we have not seen. I have not seen locally previously, and that's to what we were talking about earlier. Again, I think for all of the so-called traditional sports, right, this is one of the difficult things, and I think you need to manage expectations in terms of what success is in terms of viewership and in terms of attendance, because there are more sports that are kind of all in to trying to grow what they're doing and have better organizations across the board. There are more high schools offering more sports. I mean, State College had what I thought was a pretty wide spread sports program when I was growing up. And I'm telling you, they've added probably at least 6 sports, maybe more than that, to what they were offering when I was coming through. So there's just more opportunities. It used to be if you were a great athlete, right? And there were exceptions, but the great athletes were a combination of or one of football, basketball, baseball. Now, again, in this community, wrestling was a big part of it over the winter, too. Yeah. Wrestling and basketball would compete. In some communities, soccer and football would compete for the fall. But, I mean, that was basically it. And track was, another one that would just a lot of great athletes would gravitate toward. But now, again, lacrosse is taking some of those. Those sports still are getting some of those great athletes. But now, again, lacrosse, rugby, hockey, all of these sports are taking, some. And so and again, I'm not saying this is good or bad. It's just the way it is that, you're not having as many great athletes concentrated in one sport or another. And again, there are exceptions. Obviously, there are pockets where, every great athlete in our community is playing football because that's what you do, or hockey or whatever it may be. But man, more and more you're seeing, well, no, that guy would have been a great football player, but he's opting for lacrosse, or that guy would have been a great wrestler, but he's opting for hockey, or that guy would have been a great baseball player, but he's decided to pursue lacrosse. So there's all kinds of adjustments that, again, I think sports are having to make in terms of expectations for participation numbers and for viewership and attendance figures.
Your wrestling's usually in the winter, right? Midwinter, mid fall.
Yeah.
So but you can wrestle year round, right?
Correct.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, lacrosse, you have your fall leagues. Baseball, you have your fall and spring. How far behind are you on this? I looked at it.
You had me looking up high school.
I got you. No,
we're keeping Birch on his toes.
There's so many different sports you can do, and I'm gonna get on my little soapbox here again. And when it comes to like high school and football recruiting, in my opinion, if you're one of these guys who specializes in one sport, that drives me nuts. Absolutely drives me nuts. Play basketball, play lacrosse, wrestle, everything, even playing soccer. Everything helps you towards becoming a better football player. Or play basketball, play all this stuff.
I will say, I think I'm generally in agreement with you. And there was a time where I was gung ho that if you're a good athlete, you should be participating in as many sports as you can, or multiple. But I will say that in part through my association with the wrestling program, I'm still a big advocate of at least up to high school, participate in as many sports as you can. That being said, if you have, you're not going to become, and you've got to understand the numbers involved here and what your shot is, even if you're elite.
Yep.
But you are not going to be an Olympic gymnast if you are playing basketball and soccer and up through 12. I'm just saying. So and like David Taylor is going to be the exception to the rule here that I'm going to throw out. David fell in love with the sport, and when I tell you, I mean, I've talked to him and his family enough. It was not a situation where his parents were pushing anything. It was that he didn't want to do anything else starting at a very young age. I mean, he just had, and right there. So these are the exceptions, not the rules, right? There are the kids that just have that God-given talent to play piano or play whatever musical instrument. And again, they are proteges, and at age 10, they're playing concert halls and what have you. And man, if you have an exceptional gift and talent, and that merges with a passion, and you can discover that at a young age, I'm not saying you have to follow any given path, but I think by and large, for most people, it is beneficial to experience and try different things. And especially in sports like football, a lot of the team sports, I think the competitive aspect is as important, if not more important, than the technical issues. And I don't know that spending 12 months working on your first step and getting your shoulder low, right, is all that much more beneficial than spending 4 months on it. Now, again, wrestling, yes, if you're going to be elite, and listen, there are exceptions to this too. There are elite wrestlers that did not kind of focus on year-round wrestling until in high school, and in some cases late in high school. And we've still had, there have been successful heavyweights, right, who played football all the way through. But more and more, right, there are sports where, again, if you're going to be the cream of the crop, yes, you may need to specialize.
You said the difference. It's an individual sport versus a team sport.
Yes,
you need to work your craft as a gymnast, as a
tennis player, golfer,
and you sure there are year-round facilities for that with football.
Sure.
Basketball. I talked to a buddy of mine in Florida whose son is a baseball pitcher, and he says to me, he goes, "You know how many Major League Baseball pitchers are from the North?" And I was like, I don't know, probably not that many. He's like, the majority of them are from the North, because in the South or in the Dominican or all these places where they can play year round, they're burning these kids out.
Yeah.
This guy's like, probably 60 or 70% of the MLB pitchers are from north of the Mason-Dixon line. And because they're not playing, they're not specializing, they're not playing, 9-10 months a year, where you can play 12 months a year in Florida if you want. But that's just a little side note. But I really always enjoyed the difference in the change-up of sports through high school and stuff like that. And I got cut from my high school baseball team as a freshman. I guess a 6'6" catcher is not exactly what they really wanted within the strike zone there. So I ended up throwing shot put and discus in high school and all.
Yeah.
So, you always had to do something. And I always wanted to, my dad used to say, "Oh, no, Dad, I got to go lift weights. I got to get ready for football." And my dad knew what the hell I wanted to do. It wasn't going to go lift weights and play football. I was lifting 12-ounce cans at a time probably. So he was smart enough to get me to stop from doing that. But I as a college coach 20 years ago, I would, you want kids who, and the NFL loves kids who, don't specialize. By your junior year, yes, if you want to specialize, that's fine. But as a young kid, play as many sports as you can, do as much as you can, and enjoy them. Yeah,
it's honing the competitive juices and
absolutely, buddy.
Sharpening that edge, I think is every bit as important as trying to perfect any particular skill in particular in those team sports. But even like with wrestling, it's changed, because when I was coming up, like, we would dabble in freestyle, but there were not many kids. There were a couple in our school, but not many that went hard in freestyle over the summer. Again, we had so I'm thinking back on like 3 or 4 from State College that would really kind of year round and then specialize in freestyle in the off season. That has changed over the last 20 years too, where there's just a lot more opportunities, and a lot more kids are taking advantage. Maybe those opportunities were there. There's a lot more kids
Can you imagine the
that are taking advantage of those opportunities.
I'm a freestyle wrestler. I don't do that. I'm a freestyle. Back off, buddy. Back off.
Yeah, well, and it's helped that the rule changes have made the two styles more compatible. I think more compatible than they've been. Certainly, thank God they got rid of the ball drop and the nonsense that was there. But I do think that by and large, kids are benefit from just exposure, if nothing else, of not just sports, a wide variety of experiences, right?
Get out of their basement, out of them. No more playing games. Get out and play some sports.
Yep, and don't be afraid to go out and have pickup games. I wish we'd see more of that in the local neighborhoods, because I do think that's also a great way to learn, again, not just about sports, but human interaction. You don't have adults around to settle the disputes. You got to figure it out yourself. And again, some wonderful lessons to come out of that. Not always fair. Sometimes you got to go with the consensus. You got to give a little to get a little. All of those things that you just kind of learned on the playground, because you had to. I mean, you and your friends would figure it out, and you didn't have adults around telling you that this is how it was going to be.
Yeah.
Well, that was a pretty meandering show.
Yes, it was. And I just saw something happen over here in the Yankees game. You got to try to watch this, but unbelievable.
We're not done meandering yet. Yeah.
No, the guy gives the second base, and there's nobody covering third and or home plate. Watch. No one covering third, so the guy continues. The catcher runs to third base to try.
And the pitcher's just standing there.
And then all he has to do is beat the catcher to the home plate.
Wow.
Who doesn't have the ball. It's hilarious.
Unbelievable.
That's Major League Baseball. That just happened in a Major League Baseball game. Oh, that's funny. Oh, good show. We were all over the place. Holy hell. ADD sets in Ironhead.
That is incredible.
Look, I'm going to put all these pads on. I'm going to try and beat you to the home plate. That's
pitcher's
hilarious.
Just sitting there. How does that happen at the Major League level?
I'm watching it happen. I'm like, what the
how are you not aware?
Here? That's funny. Phillies won, by the way. Hey, by the way, the Pirates are back down to earth. You hear that, Alan? The Pirates are back to earth, buddy. So I gotta say congratulations to Alan. He won a case of beer.
Yes, he did.
Off of me this year.
Woohoo!
The final tally was 8-1. He kept on doubling down, and the Flyers just kept on beating them Penguins, buddy.
Bring on the Sabres. I'm hoping the Penguins Sabres. Let's every NHL game for the remainder of the season should start with the gloves dropping. Let's take a cue from the Rangers Capitals game.
Flyers are playing the Capitals the next game. They got Wilson.
Perfect.
I think Tocchet should come back.
Go do it.
Put Craig Berube out there. Dave Brown.
Yes, indeed.
Eddie Hospodar just showed up. No, good show. It was just a lot of stuff off my chest today, Ironhead.
It's good. Aaron Rodgers will be in to get some stuff off his chest. Join us next week.
Lion Country Kia is offering exceptional deals on your new Kia during Kia's Command the Season event.
We have a nice selection on the 2021 Kia Sportage with various options and prices as low as $26,800, saving you $3,000. Or if you demand big power and towing capacity, slip into one of the 2021 Kia Sorentos available on our lot, starting at $32,680.
Discover why Kia drivers throughout the area come to Lion Country Kia or visit online at lioncountrykia.com.
Quaker Steak and Lube is throwing open the garage doors and setting up the umbrellas. It's patio season. Come enjoy great food, drinks, and fun in the sun. There's always something happening at Quaker Steak and Lube, but we're really amping up our event calendars for our favorite time of year. Visit thelube.com to find out what's happening at your local lube this season. Lunch, happy hour, dinner, or late night, indoors or outside, at Quaker Steak and Lube, you'll always find big flavors, friendly faces, and lots of fun.
I'm here with Keith Goon Conlon, and you've got a little trip you're cooking up for August. Tell us about it.
So we got 4 or 5 ex-football players, Shane Conlon, myself, Troy Drayton, Justin Kirpakis, and Mike Maudie. We're going to go down to Barbados, leave from different airports, 5 days, 4 nights. We've got to get our skills ready to go for the football season, so what better way to do it than down in Barbados?
People come along on this trip, what are they going to be doing down there?
Very laid-back atmosphere. We're going to have golfing trips, fishing trips. And then at night, the days are very, very chill. And then at nighttime, there'll be cocktail parties and, old viewings of old football games from Penn State. You might be watching the 87 Fiesta Bowl, the 95 Rose Bowl, a private viewing for all the people who were on the trip of Saving Your Roar, which is the 2012 team documentary. So the biggest thing is that it's 100% refundable. LionsLegendsTravels.com. Everything is on there. It's $19.95 a person. There's multiple airports, so check in.
Good stuff, Goon. Lions Legends Travel. Check it out.
He's not getting that car in there.
No, sir.
Hey, look at these two troublemakers.
Johnny, how are you?
Wicked car. Is that new?
Yeah, it's a Sonata. Let me park it.
Oh, you're not fitting your car in there.
Chris, stop being a smarty pants, all right? Look who's got Smart Park. Even Bruiser can park it. Just hit the clicker. I can park it anywhere.
Beaver Stadium?
Parked it.
Even the Jordan Center?
Parked it.
Even Medler Field?
Even Bruiser parked it.
Hey, you can't park there.
He's got Smart Pack.
Wicked smart.
Blaze Alexander Hyundai. It's wicked smart.